here I wanted a beam, maybe with a bit of floorboards on it, but just to give some dimension to where the building's been ripped away. I wanted a beam that had actually been split longwise, and though I've got a beam there that's sort of meant to suggest that it's been broken off, I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could sculpt it out of the foam. So I went in the shed and I actually found some balsa wood. Now, I cannot remember when I bought this or what I bought it for, but you can just snap it in your fingers, and it would be lovely to make the whole building out of this, really. That's what they used to do. Balsa wood's really expensive these days because it's tropical and technically a hardwood. It's classed as a hardwood, even though it's actually the softest, lightest wood. And I'll split it and cut it to length, and that's going to go in there. The challenge will be painting it to match this brown, so it doesn't obviously look like a different material. Just need to round off the edges a little bit, but that's going to, I think, look quite good. It's the cartwheels. A lot of glue and wood filler, and you can see I've actually moulded the hubs with a little pin that holds the wheel on. Not painted up yet. They're going to be painted and mud splattered, which is why I haven't worked too much on the smoothing. And they do actually roll, despite being very irregular in shape. Rather pleased with the fact that they roll. Let's start working on the rest of the cart now. These are some bits that have been glued and are drying overnight. They've been drying overnight. That's the base of the cart, the chassis, I suppose, almost. These are a couple of little pulley wheels for the crane, the winch. The next thing to do is to measure that gap. I suppose it's about 2 mil, but I'll measure it and then order some thread of the right diameter. It's going to be difficult to get thread of that diameter that isn't sort of glossy silk embroidery thread, and these are going to be a dovecote. And I couldn't see any examples of dovecotes being made directly into wattle and daub buildings, but I found timber ones, and I found ones in stone buildings. But it's going to have to be sort of an inset wooden section dovecote up there, and I've started drilling those, but I can't get any further at the moment because handheld drill isn't giving me the sort of control I need. It's going to have to wait till I can get that on the drill press. Well, that is the back of the cart, and I've just realised I've made a bad mistake because I've put these on for the os, and it's the back of the cart that's supposed to be open. If I'm following the medieval manuscript illustration, so I'm going to snap those off, and this end piece, put them on the other end. But these are grass stalks which I've just collected from the garden. They're just coming up, really, and they're the same species of grass, whichever species it is, that I been using the dried stalks as sort of long cocktail sticks for all sorts of things as part of the model, and for mixing tiny little bits of paint and applying bits of paint. And these are them in their fresh green state, and hopefully they're going to be flexible enough, and I shall select the very thinnest ones of all. I shall bend the ends round like that, and it's broken there, but the thinner bits don't break. I've tested it, and then that will be put round that end post more neatly than that, and as I say, hopefully not fracturing quite as badly as that, held with contact glue, and then woven in and out, in and out, and then the layer above it, out and in, out and in. That's the easy bit, and then another sort of glue job at the end. That's the ambition, and then left for about a week to dry out completely and discolour before I try painting them or sealing them with a bit of varnish to make sure it holds it all together. Mod Podge maybe will come out again finally. I'm putting the dovecote pieces in because they're just about finished. I think I might weather and stain them a little bit more. They might even have some dove poop on the coming from some of the holes where the doves have landed, and I think when people see dovecotes or built-in dovecotes on gable ends of old buildings, I think they have sort of quite romantic thoughts. They say, "Oh, look, a dovecote, isn't that nice? They must have kept doves." And they're no doubt sort of imagining, I don't know, doves that are kept for releasing at middle-class weddings or something like that. But the doves were kept for food, and as well as the eggs, they used to particularly like to collect the young chicks, which are called squabs, in its doves. Maybe that's sort of to do with using a horrible word, squabs, ugly word, isn't it, instead of chicks, makes it easier to do what they have to do next, which is just to take them, put them in a big pestle, and then pound them up with a giant mortar, and that gave them a delicacy that was sort of like pate. Well, I imagine there would be somebody horrible enough to want to do that job. One of your chaotic evil characters in Dungeons and Dragons terms maybe does that. Yeah, it's middle of the night, it's about 2 o'clock, and I seem to work well in the middle of the night, even in lockdown when there aren't other things to do. And one thing I have done today though is I've looked at the original Thomas Hardy quotation for the name of the inn, and it is the sign of the quiet woman. It's not the silent woman. I keep mucking that up. For 18 months I've been mucking that up and naming my video files silent woman. It's the quiet woman. Silent isn't mentioned at all, and quiet has this additional possible meaning in Return of the Native, because to be quiet is not just to be quiet, it's to be contented. And the heroine, the antagonist, almost the anti-heroine in Thomas Hardy, has an amazing character called Eustacia Vi. She's certainly an unquiet soul who wants to be elsewhere. So that's pretty much next on the list. I need to make the hanging sign, which is the little effigy of a headless woman. It's going to be, in my case, a Medusa carrying her own snaky head, with a sign underneath saying, "Since the woman's quiet, let no man breed a riot." that's on the next on the job. The cart is almost finished. Needs a bit of paint. The green grass lattice work looks rather pretty, but it's going to have to be painted. I know that it won't keep that green colour because it's chlorophyll and it will fade away in a few weeks. It needs to be sealed, and I need to do a little bit of more work on the underside. One more little adaptation before I paint it, but it's taken a lot of work, and it just about rolls. It's gonna make the mud tracks for me. One thing I say to people again and again and again when doing art or craft or sculpture or making terrain and bits for tabletop gaming, it's all the same thing really, is look at source material as well as it actually making your work look like what it's supposed to represent. You learn extra things. When I was making my cart here and looking at the end of those poles, we've gone into silhouette. I was thinking, well, there must be sort of holes in them or something. There must be some way that you connect them to the horse's. What's it called? Can't think of the word. All the tackle that the horse has on it, the leather straps and things that go across the horse's front. But actually, the most interesting thing is that when I look carefully at the picture, the way that the horse is connected to the cart isn't as much by the poles as by this rope which hooks over this bit of the cart. So looking at my cart, I just decided I don't need to do anything at this end, but I do need to make sure I have a sort of tow bar structure, and I've actually had to mitre it very, very crudely because I've only got the big wood cutting disc on the Dremel, but that's going to have to be mitered on like that, so those two bits stick out to make it look right. The axle underneath doesn't actually go through a big loop like that, but I shall paint that a dark colour and nobody will ever see it. I haven't got a picture of the underside of the cart, and I'm not going to model bits that nobody will ever see. The other thing I'm working on this evening, that's going to be the face of the Medusa, and this is an armature for the Medusa. It's going to be slightly bigger than life size, not my life size but his life size, and he's a 28mm. Yeah, maybe it's actually not too far away from life size, but that's bits of paperclip stuck with a bit of super glue, and then that's just a bit of masking tape holding it, and I'll be moulding that in green stuff. But even for a figure this small, you really do need an armature. Thinner wire would be better, but paperclip wire will do the job. What's cooking in the oven? It's actually nothing, it's off. So I've just eaten my Cornish pasty. Didn't even waste any additional energy on it yet. But as the oven was cooling, what I did was threw in, it's still very hot actually, threw in what I've just bought on eBay, which is some thread of just the right dimension, but it's waxed and not successful. But we're going to try again. It's browned it. Interesting. I want to keep it, try it back in there for a bit longer, maybe make it a little bit hotter even. But this is the thread that's going to hang from there. It's going to be the rope and it doesn't look quite like right yet. Maybe I'll try a solvent or something, see if I can destroy that wax, but it's exactly the right thickness and it had the right sort of look, apart from the glossiness of the wax. I need to destroy that and then make a bucket, I think. Well, that was a failure. I'm just feeling it now. It's gone a little bit crispy in places where it's browned, but that waxed cord is waxed cord in inverted commas because it doesn't melt, so it's more like a lacquer. And I'll just cut at it and see if I can sort of peel it off, see if it's like a coating that you get on wire. If not, I maybe will just try using some isopropyl alcohol on it. If not, white spirit. If not that, acetone. If none of those do it, then it's a plastic, and that is going to be problematic if it's actually sort of dipped in a flexible acrylic varnish or something.